systems and computer systems are downloaded correctly. See the Adams County, Ben County emblems on the software, the quick presence of the video power and connect on this cable. This is liquor power and also Brent Towers, Benton County, Ben PUD, Franklin PUD, and also originally we see liquor power. Duplicate desktop needs a turned on. The varies depends on laptop manufacturer, for one. That's been Randy Miller's laptop. That is given by Felix Barela. Browsing history and download systems that you can see.
Mr. President, 50,000 people have died today. You're saying that you want credit for what the government has done. Do you take any responsibility for these 50,000 deaths that have happened in this country?
I think we've done a great job. As you know, minimal numbers were going to be 100,000 people. Minimal numbers were going to be 100,000 people, and we're going to be hopefully far below that. If we didn't take quick action, you could have lost many millions of people. So we're really being given a lot of credit for a lot of people. I'm not looking for credit for myself, but I am looking for credit for people in the federal government that have done such a great job, and for the doctors and nurses and everybody else, please.
Mr. President, can you comment on Rick Wright, who has been speaking about whistleblower complaints?
I don't know the gentleman. I'm sorry, I don't know. I don't know how you sign a whistleblower complaint whenever, is that a whistleblower complaint you're talking about? How do you sign a whistleblower complaint when everybody knows who he is? I know nothing about him.
He was retaliated against because he refused.
That I don't know. Again, I don't know anything about it. I don't know. Easy. Just take it nice and easy. I don't know anything about him. Until yesterday, I never heard of the gentleman. Okay?
Have you asked anyone to look into what happened to him?
What?
Have you asked anyone to look into the circumstances
I have
around
not yet. At some point I will. I guess they moved him to a different group.
What price China should pay for spreading this virus and covering it up and lying?
Well, we're looking into it. We're studying it. We're investigating it, and we'll see what happens. But it is something that should have been stopped early on. It could have been stopped easily in China, and we don't understand why they didn't do it. So we're looking into it. We're not happy about it.
Why does he know about?
Who are you with?
I'm with NTR. I used to Roscoe.
Okay, go ahead. You're not up. Go ahead, please. Question?
Do you support any money for the Postal Service?
So I can comment on that,
Go
Mr.
ahead,
President.
Postal Service.
So we authorized in the last CARE Act over $10 billion of a loan. My team is already actively working on that with the Postal Service if they need the money, and we're dealing with that.
The Postal Service is a joke because they're handing out packages for Amazon and other internet companies, and every time they bring a package, they lose money on it. So Amazon and other internet companies and delivery companies are dropping all of their, not all of them, but a big portion of packages and whatever else they're doing into a post office. And the post office is supposed to deliver the packages, and they lose a lot of money. The post office should raise the price of a package by approximately 4 times because they don't raise them. For some reason, these people have been in there a long time, but for some reason they're very cozy with some of these companies, and they don't raise the price of a package. And if they raise the price of a package like they should, 4 or 5 times, that's what it should be, or let Amazon build their own post office, which would be an impossible thing to do because the post office is massive and serves every little piece of the country. The post office, if they raise the price of a package by approximately 4 times, it'd be a whole new ball game. But they don't want to raise because they don't want to insult Amazon, and they don't want to insult other companies perhaps that they like. the post office should raise the price of the packages to the companies, not to the people, to the companies. And if they did that, it would be a whole different story. Do you agree with that, Steve?
I do, and actually, we are going to put certain criteria for our postal reform program as part of the loan. And we're looking forward to the board is recruiting a new postmaster general and doing postal reform.
Well, I'll go a step further. If they don't raise the price of the service they give, which is a tremendous service, and they do a great job, and the postal workers are fantastic, but this thing's losing billions of dollars, it has for years. Because they don't want to insult, for whatever reason you can imagine, they don't want to insult Amazon and these other groups. If they don't raise the price, I'm not signing anything. So they'll raise the price so that they become
Amazon buildings at the,
maybe even profitable, but so they lose much less money. Okay? And if they don't do it, I'm not signing anything, and I'm not authorizing you to do anything.
in the limousine back area, pull back in the services of dental tomorrow. There's so much footage.
No, I was asking a question sarcastically to reporters like you, just to see what would happen. Now, disinfectant for doing this, maybe on the hands would work. And I was asking the question of the gentleman who was there yesterday, Bill, because when they say that something will last 3 or 4 hours or 6 hours, but if the sun is out or if they use disinfectant, it goes away in less than a minute. Did you hear about this yesterday? But I was asking a sarcastic and a very sarcastic question to the reporters in the room about disinfectant on the inside. But it does kill it, and it would kill it on the hands, and that would make things much better. That was done in the form of a sarcastic question to the reporters.
You were asking your medical experts to look into it.
No. To look into whether or not sun and disinfectant on the hands, but whether or not sun can help us. Because, I mean, he came in yesterday and he said they've done a big study. This is a study. This isn't where he hasn't done it. This is where they've come in with a final report that sun has a massive impact negatively on this fiber. In other words, it does not live well with humidity, and it doesn't live well with sunlight, heat. It doesn't live well with heat and sun and disinfectant. And that's what I brought out, and I thought it was clear. Okay, anything else?
Mr. President, could you comment a little bit on what you're considering right now for helping the oil and gas industry? That was something.
Yeah, I want to help that industry. That industry got unnecessarily hurt by massive amounts of oil being produced by very big countries, oil-producing countries, and they got carried away. And I got involved with those two countries to have them make peace with each other. But by the time we get involved, all of a sudden, I mean, they have billions of barrels. They never saw anything like it. Every tanker is loaded up with oil sitting out in the ocean. Oil is less than water. Nobody's ever seen anything like it. Now, in many respects for our country, automobiles and airplanes and all of the things that you have to do with the airlines, we're trying to make the airlines work again, and we will. We just provided financing for them, which was great. We're going to keep our airlines and all those employees totally intact. So in some ways, fuel cost is very low, but I'm an energy person. I love the energy business. We're energy independent. We're going to stay that way. We're also filling up, as you know, John, our national strategic reserves. And we're filling them up like never before. And we're frankly getting very good prices, okay, as we should. Very good prices. So we're filling up the reserve. That's 75 million barrels. And we're going to have that filled up pretty soon. So it'll be filled for the first time in a long time. And we're doing it at a very, very low cost. So it's good. Now, it'll come back when the virus is gone. They lost 40% of their market because of the virus. In all fairness to even the producers and even the countries. They lost 40% of their market because people aren't driving automobiles. They're not doing anything. So all of a sudden, they're not flying in airplanes. The airline business was essentially shut down. So all of this massive amount of fuel, and this is all over the world. This isn't here. This is in virtually every country. I'd probably say, as you know, I've been talking about 184 countries, probably more than that now. 184. A friend of mine said, very sophisticated friend said, I never knew you had 184 countries. We actually have more than that. 184 countries that we know of have
Get
been
the
affected
federal
by this.
recognition and also
So the
recognition
oil
of
business lost 40 to 50% of their market.
HSPD and the 12
And that was,
PIB.
who would have seen a thing like that
Federal,
coming?
wasn't federal
As soon as
contractors,
this
the
comes back,
US passport,
and with
US
the
passport
cutting,
card, US
the
military
energy
ID,
business
active
will come
ID,
back and it'll come back
Homeland
strong.
Security issued
So we're
trusted
working.
travelers
The energy business is very important to
cards
me.
with global
And
entry.
we're going to
Nexus,
build it up. This really hurt the energy
Sencha,
business as much as any other
and
business
FAST.
because it totally knocked out. The
Foreign
supply
government
kept
issued
coming.
passport,
And by the way, there was a lot of
resident
oil
card, green card,
when this hit. Before it
border
hit,
crossing
there was a lot of
card,
oil. Prices were pretty low,
airline,
which is a very good
airport
thing.
issued ID,
But then we got hit
issued
by this, and it was
TSA
devastating to
approved,
the energy
that's
business
the
all over the
BFT
world.
and
So
Grant County
we will
Transfer
be
Station
able
Division, also the Ben
once
Franklin
this straightens out,
Transfer Station.
and once you get some demand, and then
General
you're gonna
Washington.
reduce the supply a little bit, it'll
And it's
equalize,
just walk
and it's gonna be
away
great again.
straight
We'll,
to the
we will make
red line,
the
to
energy
Andy
business
Miller's
great
office,
again.
the coroner's office.
And we want to remain independent, we're independent
Don't
now,
shop. We
we're
open the
totally
door.
independent on energy.
Body,
We want to keep it that way. Go ahead.
Jay Mueller, Amy Mueller,
Clarify
Andy
whether
Mueller,
the government is
prosecutor
considering
Washington,
taking
also
stakes in energy companies.
Well, the president has asked me to work with the Secretary of Energy, and we're looking at a whole bunch of alternatives. It would be premature for me to comment on any one of them, but the president has asked us to look at the range of alternatives.
Is that one of the alternatives?
Again, you can assume that's one of the alternatives, but there's many of them.
Well, one of the alternatives we can think about, Steve, and just
This is
sitting
Senate
here watching,
Farms here in
we
Fellow
could buy,
Washington.
the
Fellow
United States is the
Farms
largest
here
user
in Fellow
of oil.
Washington has
We could buy
this business card.
oil at a great price.
Increments on this
into the
guy
future.
that burning up
It gives
the
them the infusion
says
they
that
need, and we
Senate
have oil at a
Farms,
great
and that's
price
Amir
into
Singh
the
down here,
future.
that
So
pulls
that's
up in the
something I'd like
driveway.
you to think about.
And his brand new truck,
Likewise,
As you've suggested.
yeah,
his no brand new
likewise,
Toyota,
I
his
told
Ford,
Steve,
his Sequoia,
we're the biggest
his
user of the
Platinum,
airlines,
which
United
is the red
States
line,
government.
that's Donald Trump.
And one of the ways we can help the
This
airlines
is
is buy
Senate
tickets at a
Farms.
very large
That's,
discount,
Bach
maybe
and Moon
50%
Donald
off,
Trump, and
maybe
also
more.
Mr. Donald Trump, Lead Show.
And you buy
They got married at
into 4 or 5 years worth of
increments
tickets.
of that area.
And you infuse them with some
Hotel,
cash, and in the
downtown
meantime, we're
Seattle,
flying
Bill Gates
the
administration,
people of
where
our
they
country
fly
for,
administration.
a fraction of
Corporates
the
of
cost
the
that it would
download
be if
system,
the,
Microsoft.
when the airlines
Microsoft
get back. They
is
will
the-
get back.
Bill Gates,
But,
I mean,
so we're thinking in
Donald Trump
terms
got married
of,
to Bill Gates.
as additional, because the airlines are all set right now. But
Roberta
as an
Lola
additional
Hernandez and
incentive where we
Dick
buy
Cheney, Liz
tickets
Cheney,
in
and,
advance at a very
and,
big discount,
Eugene F. Pratt
which I've
for the
liked
pill office.
really from
So,
the beginning.
software is very
And we're not up there. But look, the fact is,
very
the airlines are gonna be fine the way it
effective.
is now, but I
Sunny
like that as
Farms.
an additional
And this
help
is
for
Sunny
the
Farms,
airlines.
right?
I like it both ways.
You're
I like
seeing
it
that
first.
here.
We're the larger
The
user,
biggest
of
oil
the
company
largest user
services
of the airlines.
billionaire.
So you buy tickets, I don't know, this sounds good, right? We get a good discount.
Wyoming appreciates what you're doing for the energy industry.
Well, Wyoming is great, they're great.
Mr.
And
President, can I
they're lucky to have you.
Liz
Sorry to
is
Yes,
trying to
please,
work at the
First, I
Senate
want to
office.
thank you and your
She's
administration.
in the Senate working.
Your involvement on the OPEC deal was incredible, vital. It wouldn't have happened without what you did. Your whole team has been very focused on energy. I do think one issue that a number of us are starting to have concerns about is there are big American financial institutions that the federal government has helped many times. They're going to do well with regard to facilitating some of the CARES Act stuff. They're starting to discriminate against American energy companies, discriminate against investment in my state, in Alaska, and I think it's going to be really important.
I don't
These
like
big,
that.
these big Wall Street banks that want the federal government to help support them, and then they discriminate against a critical sector of the U.S. economy. By the way, the sector in the 2008-2009 recession that really drove us out of our recession. I don't think they should be allowed to do that, sir, and I know you have
I like
concerns
the
about
idea of
that.
looking into that, you're right. You know, that got where they were pushed by the radical left, and so they're afraid of the radical left. Shouldn't be afraid of the radical left. Very nice people, AOC +3, and all of her friends. But you shouldn't be afraid of them. You should reason with them, and if they don't reason, you do what's right. You cannot be discriminating against these great energy companies. And there is, I've heard that from them, that it's very hard. One of the banks, I think they said, we want to be out of energy by 2050. That's a long time. But they want to be out of energy. What's that all about? They want to be out of energy. So, you know, we're blessed in this country because we're sitting on top of tremendous wealth. Very few countries have that kind of wealth. We're bigger than Saudi Arabia. We're bigger than Russia. We're bigger than any other country in terms of our energy. And a lot of things like the Paris Accord The Paris Accord basically took your wealth away. It didn't give you the advantage. And I said, I won't sign it because it took the wealth of this country away because they didn't want us to use our energy. They didn't want us to use our great asset. We have tremendous wealth. You know, one of the interesting things, if you look at Iran and you look at Saudi Arabia and you look at the big, vast waterways that we patrol, years and years and years gratis for nothing, so that other people got rich, so that we could get oil out of there, but so that other people got rich. We never got anything. Now we get things for it. But we don't have ships very much in there anymore. And with all of the conflict and all of the things, they kept saying, where are the American ships? We have so much energy now. We're sitting on so much. And it's happened really over the last 3 years, 3.5 years. We've made it. One thing that happened, great, John, I mean, if you look, John, you were even in favor of it because you're an energy person, but we helped Alaska, but we really helped the United States with ANWR for Dan. They did a fantastic job. Ronald Reagan tried to get it approved, couldn't do it. Every president tried to get ANWR, they couldn't do it. I got it approved.
Yes, sir. Great.
People don't even talk about it, and that's okay. They don't have to talk about it. That's why I talk about it.
We love
Nobody
it in
else
Alaska,
will.
I'll tell you that.
But ANWR is perhaps the largest find in the world, right? It could be, but it's certainly one of them.
Yes, sir.
But it's been talked about for years, probably one of the, maybe the largest find anywhere in the world. And we got it approved a year ago, and you're working on it, and it's incredible. But Ronald Reagan could not do it. He said that was one of his big disappointments. He could not get ANWR approved. They couldn't get it through. And we got it through, we got it passed, and that was a great achievement for everybody in this room. And it was a great achievement, actually, for the two of you, the big oil guys, right? It was a big, and I have to say, these senators and the people in this room, they love energy. Not that they love it, they love the jobs it produces, and they like what it represents, and it gives us total independence. So it's very important. Okay, any other question?
Mr. President, just to follow up on energy, are you satisfied with the current output by the Russians and the Saudis, or do you want them further to cut production?
I'd wish you to, because you have the mask on. So it's, yeah, that's great. Just for a second. He's not worried. See the man in front of you? Are you worried about her? Are you worried about He's not worried. Look, he's protected. Go
Are you
ahead.
satisfied with the current cut from the Saudis and the Russians, or do you want them to further cut the production?
Well, it could be that they further cut. I think it's going to be natural, though, really, isn't it? It's going to be natural at this point. So I think I got them to cut maybe, what would you say? I would say, well, they say 10. They say 10 million, but I think it's 15 million barrels. I even heard 20 million, but you know, it's going to be natural. And in all fairness, Texas and Oklahoma, and if you go to North Dakota and all of our places, it's going to be natural. Canada's cutting. They've got to cut. Right now, I mean, they've got to cut. And it's you know, supply and demand is a beautiful thing. But what happened is one day, all of our demand, just not all, 50% of our demand disappeared with this virus. They say from 40 to 50%. So you're producing and it's going good, price is good enough for the companies and really good for the countries. It was really good, and the consumer. And then one day, in one day, it stopped. So it's, you know, I guess you could always say it's somebody's fault, but it happened. Something happened that nobody thought would ever happen. Okay, yes.
More on hydroxychloroquine. Have you or Secretary Azar pressured or asked scientists in the administration to promote it?
Well, I never spoke to a scientist, but I will tell you this. I did speak with the president of Honduras just a little while ago, and I didn't bring it up. He brought it up. He said they used the hydroxychloroquine, and he said the results are so incredible with hydroxychloroquine. This happened an hour ago. I just spoke to him, president of Honduras, and he said, and I guess we made some available to them or whatever. He was thanking me, and I said, how has the result been? He said, it's been incredible. Now, I don't know. He's not a doctor, I don't think, but he thanked me, and he said the results have been very good. So you hear it both ways. I've seen all negative other than the other day. I saw some study which wasn't good, but I saw very positive coming out of France and coming out of but here's the president of Honduras saying how good it was. I mean, I didn't even bring up the subject. He brought it up. So Study has to be there. Look, I'm not a doctor. Study has to be done, and maybe it's help. If it helps, it's great. If it doesn't help, don't do it. It does work with, as you know,
HSBC,
malaria,
Nijjar,
lupus,
and
etc.
Keynes,
And
Washington,
it's a very
Scott,
powerful
Conrad,
drug.
Lamb Weston,
And
FAA,
I would say
which
this,
is
if it works, I think
across the
everybody
street.
would be in favor of it. But
3
check with
seconds,
him, call him.
4 or
The
5 second
president
walk right across
of
the street.
Honduras,
3
a really
seconds.
nice guy. Just left him, just on the phone. You know what he needed? Ventilators. He said, can you give? I said, we can help you. Because we're gonna have 110,000 made in a very short period of time, and they've been making them by the thousands. Mike Pence went out to a factory in Wisconsin just the other day, 3 days ago, and he came back. He could not believe how incredible the factory was. They're making thousands of ventilators every couple of months, thousands. And countries are calling us now. France, Italy, we're sending to Italy, France, Spain. We are making thousands and thousands of very high-grade ventilators. A big difference between high-grade and not high-grade when it comes to what those do. And we're sending them to countries as they call, as they need them. We're sending them all over the world. And when we ask the governors, do you need ventilators? The answer is no. In fact, New York was nice. They sent some to, I think they sent them to Massachusetts. Yeah, please, Jeff.
Mr. President, just to follow up on the comments from yesterday, you said you were being sarcastic, but some people may have misunderstood you. Do you want to just clarify?
Well, I wish they wouldn't. I wish they would. Well, I think I did, but I wish they wouldn't. But I do think this. Yeah, I do think that disinfectant on the hands could have a very good effect. Now, Bill is going back to check that in the laboratory. You know, it's an amazing laboratory, by the way. It's amazing, the work they do. So he's going to check. Because a hard surface, this is a hard surface, I guess maybe depending on whose hand you're talking about, right? But this is a hard surface. And disinfectant, the disinfectant has an unbelievable, it wipes it out. You know, you saw it. Sun and heat and humidity wipe it out. And this is from tests. They've been doing these tests for, you know, a number of months. And the result, so that I said, well, how do we do it inside the body or even outside the body with the hands? And disinfectant, I think would work. He thinks would work. But you use it when you're doing your hands. I guess that's one of the reasons they say wash your hands. But whether it's washing your hands or disinfectant on your hands, it's very good. So they're going to start looking at that. And there is a way of, you know, if light, if sun itself, that sun has a tremendous impact on it. It kills it like in 1 minute. It goes from, what was it, hours to like 1 minute. It's dead. So I said, you got to go back and look. But I'd like them now to look as it pertains to the human body, not just sitting on a railing or sitting on a wall. I'd like them to look as it pertains, because maybe there's something there. They have to work with I'm not a doctor. They have to work with the doctors. But maybe there is something to light and the human body and helping people that are dying. Okay?
But just to clarify that, sir, are you encouraging you're not encouraging Americans to...
No, of course, no, of course. That was, interior-wise, it said sarcastically. It was put in the form of a question to a group of extraordinarily hostile people, namely the fake news media. Okay,
Some doctors
so,
felt they needed to clarify that.
well, of course, all they had to do is see it was just, you know, the way it was asked. I was looking at you, you know, I know.
You're looking at Dr. Burke.
What's that?
You were looking at Dr. Burke.
I was looking at Bill. I was looking at the doctor. I was looking at some of the reporters. I don't know if you were there. Were you there? I don't think you were there.
I was there, and I
No, not
watched
you,
you
not
ask
you,
her.
not you. You were there. If you're there, I never forget. You were.
I wasn't there yesterday.
You were not.
No, sir.
Yeah, I didn't think you were there. Okay.
Mr. President, I know that you continue to say you're obviously...
Okay, hold it 1 second. Any other questions from any other people? Okay, thank you very much, everybody. Thank you.
The real ID update is Washington joins 37 other states being determined to fully complain of being granted an extension of those driver's license ID cards by Washington. Those states will be subject to real ID enforcement to airports, federal facilities until October 2020. Current federal regulations, the required enhancement driver's license enhancement ID, real current regulations, and extension of real ID enforcements, which corporates or increments they need. For your increments, you need, of course, your Social Security card and also your increments. These are your U.S. passports, U.S. passport card, the U.S. military ID, active duty, received military independents, and DOD civilians. Homeland Security issued trusted travelers cards, the global entry, the Nexus, the Sentry, and the FAST. Global services, Mr. Donald Trump, your service with your increments for your swipe, your service goes into the increments and then opens up. This is the new 2020 U.S. passport card and also the board crossing card, the air issued ID, the TSA, which is the Ben Franklin and also the Grant County transfer station, the international airport. Even when you get on the bus, international, where you have shower curtains on the rods and services and covering all the employees up with back entry entranceway and back entry exitway. The federal recognized the HSPD 12 PIV card issued federal employees and federal contractors. The U.S. passport card has U.S. military, active military, retired and dependents in DOD civilian households. Foreign government issued passports, permanent resident card, and also border crossing card, airline, airport ID, TSA, your personal. Of course, your own jet and service, and also your transport, Department of Transportation, if you walk across the street, which is airline airport ID, which is the TSA approved security plan, and they have the federal recognizing travel issue for a day on the bottom of that, and I'll write one underneath it's HSPD 12 PIV card issued federal employees and federal contractors. 200 lives to complete the work, implement legislation, pass legislation April 2017. Washington can become fully compliant in real ID. The real begins a person and have your back skewing of it, of your federal FedEx, USPS, Social Security. This is a federal acceptable document will have the access to federal courts, Social Security office, health care facilities, national parks, and areas of federal facilities that do not require ID to request access. A131 headquarters, Social Security office, that's A111, and also administration office. The identity theft, if a services that they take your service increments, they have how can someone steal your identity? Cures in someone personal, such as name, social security number, credit card number, or identifying information. Persons commit fraud crimes. For sure, all you do is show up to the bank and replace the card that day and have everything closed out and have a brand new credit card that same day, along with the post service, immediate post service, delivering it. And then within 10 business days. At the bank and their service increments, it's 10 business days. That's this card number, other identity information. How to avoid becoming identity theft victim. Probably prevent identity theft and try to maximize your. Do not give your social security number away. Maiden's name, account number, signatures, contact your phone or in an email. Government responsible for order obtained person may appear legitimate, convincing that the real information anyone do not trust me financial government. Guard your mail from theft. Post office, all postmasters. Label the red flag thieves. Watch the neighborhood strike when in place ongoing mail or ongoing. Take your outgoing mail collection box. Collect a local post office. Promptly remove mail after it has been delivered. Plan to be away from home, from your family or friends collecting email. Like Sunset Acres, Sunny Farms, where they were catching residence on fire. As you can tell, they caught that whole place on fire in increments of their knowledge of knowing, of catching the postmaster and also all the employees and staff members from all Congra, Lamb, Western, West Bay, Scone Connor, asking who that gentleman was. That this is Sunny Farms. Sunny Farms here in Moses Lake and here in Othello, Washington. That's Cimaron, that's near SINGH. The internet contract from Mumu Gotcha. They have the increments on services and the increments on the postmaster service and also the Red Lion, Denver Hotel and the Marriott. No, the Marriott. Now, providing service for Domino's, all Domino's employees. They come to the door, of course, asking who is that individual that's there. You contact the police department, immediately call 911. Washington State Patrol back and call Andy Miller at CO Ben Watch 509-735-2591. Call the services increments and also the owners. Carlos doing the owners of the Marriott Davenport Hotel, not family, little Winco. Also call Mr. Sandy Straw and also Dick Cheney, Lit Cheney on extension number. That's the senator's office, basically. Senator Patty Miriam Cantwell asking what was that all about? We're going to have to put that on YouTube, Facebook, and turn on the recording equipment. And that's Sunny Farms. Can't miss that. Sunny Farms. Sunny Farms, locally grown fresh fruits and vegetables. And that hours of operation is Tuesday, Saturday, 9 to 6. 9 in the morning, 6 at night. Sunday, 1 to 6. And also locally next to the Highway 17, Cimaron, 590 Banquet Party, where some mirrors sitting out here. You can't see him running, exercising with Mumu Ganja, Mumu Danja. And that's the service of the increments. And he drives through the Tundra, the Platinum Toyota, or it's a Highlander Sequoia, or of course, the inquiries and the increments of that service and increments. You can't miss it. There's the white BMW, there's the white Mercedes, there's the Lamborghini, there's the Ferrari, there's the Olson's. Mr. Eric D. Olson drives around in the truck. Of course, he's going to probably need an upgrade on that, but we got him YouTube faced by Mr. Eric D. Olson on 610 First Street, Othello, Washington. He has property here in Kennewick. He has property here in Othello. Same with Mr. Nijjar. And that's, of course, the Carpet Carousel and Company services for Carpet Carousel, which is big company carpet, rugs, towel, natural stone, somatic, ceramic, and also grout, and also the increments of laying down tar, glue, compounds, and laying down carpeting, excessive matter, laying in the carpet, laying and bedding, and also cutting, strapping, and tiling, and putting sheetrock, rock crowd, and also the 2x4 and sheet, and also lay rebarring and plumbing, and pouring concrete by hand, and hog carrying as well, and laying brick. And also pulling lines and water and domestic water lines and also irrigation lines and also wells and water lines that are connected to the aquifer systems that for the H2O that's recommended for the natural disaster service. As we see Donald Trump's coming into the increments, so stay tuned. Increments of this upgrades you're getting for the 2020. You have guard your mail for theft. Leave outgoing your mail. And the mail in your mailbox. These thieves labeled on red flag. These will watch neighborhood strikes when you're placing outgoing mail in your box. Take outgoing mail and connection. That's Sarah Perry and Mr. Cantwell. Post offices. These post offices are moderated by 37 different states, and those 37 different days have a fully increments of putting red flags up. Every state, every airport has a major credit bureau background. There's P.O. Box 7402 in Atlanta, Georgia, 30374. www.fax.com. Fraud hotline 1-800-525-6285. Order credit report 1-800-685-111. Experian P.O. Box 210, Allen, Texas 25013. West Experian fraud hotline 1-888 Experian. Order credit line is 1-888 Experian. TransUnion P.O. Box 1000 Chester, Pennsylvania 19022. West TransUnion. Fraud hotline 1-800-680-7289. Order credit. Credit report is 1-800-916-8800. It's all there. Contact the Federal Trade Commission, FTC, and any theft hotline visits the website. FTC provides useful information on uniform ID theft affidavit, except endorsement of many businesses. The business provide information transaction made is in your name. The Washington State Identity Theft Law requires business provide UBI number, your effective UBI number, which is Secretary Kim WYMAN here in Washington State. SOS Secretary Jane Inslee at the Service and see YouTube and Facebook at George Washington House. Here in Freda, which is Tabitha Wallace, Washington Bar Association, which is Tabitha Wallace, which is Reagan, and Nate and Chadwick, and the contact information for the commissions is hotline visits. FTC provides information on ID theft affidavit, except the endorsement of many business UBI number. FTC reports identity theft, 1-877-ID theft, and our website, www.ftc.gov. See this laptop service that they have for this port entry, which is the Skype meetings, and also the port entry of the video and power, and connect all necessary cables for the power of the laptop. Increments face push recognition and identity, and then increments on the meeting presentation on the laptop. Extended duplicate desktop needs turned on the desktop. Design Mayor's office.
And I wouldn't put it past us not to work back.
And there's a practical checklist on top of that goes on your affidavits. Evaluating the name, evaluator name, location, date, acceptable aircraft, which are aircraft documents, air awareness certificate, registration certificate, operation limitations, aircraft maintenance records, your log book record, airworthiness and profession AD company, which is Donald Trump, and that's Spokane. They got married, so when that $2 billion contract is, this is $2 billion contract, which is Superior District Municipal and Federal Court in Ronald Reagan Administration Office, which is connected to the San Luis Obispo. They have the nuclear power deterrent. Nuclear power deterrent for nuclear power of San Luis Obispo, state of California, state of New Mexico, Arizona, and this is Senator McCain. And then increments on download system of the MAD log, which is the logbook record awareness inspection of AD and compliance. The pilot operation handbook, FAA approved aircraft flight manual, landing gear Air Force One, personal equipment view limited device, current aeronautical charts, the computer and plotter, the flight platform, flight logs printed in or electronic, chart supplement U.S. airport diaphragms, appropriate publication regulation, AIM, personal identification, photo, signature, and ID, pilot certificate, and also your current and your medical certificate on your completed FAA form and your 8710 Airman Certificate rating, applicant instructor signature complied in the IACRA form, original knowledge test report, pilot logbook, appropriate instructor endorsement, FAA 8655 notice disapproval or acceptable, letter of and then also approved graduation certificate of your and evaluator fee. Instrument proficiency check, the Air Operation 1, Air Operation 2, Air Operation 3, which is B, Air Operation 4, B, Air Operation 5A, Air Operation, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6, which is all. And the, of course, the Air Operation 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, all, 7, 8, Air Operation 8, which is all. The ATA-TD utilized major IPC specific letter of authority is issued on the device. However, the circular approach of landing tasks and multi-engine airport tasks and complex aircraft FFS level B, C, and D, and BATD cannot be used in the part of IPC. Task B or C applicable to be multi-engine airplanes. That's B and C. See, B and C are applicable only to multi-engine airplanes. Now, number B, C, D, A. Now, composite aircrafts of B and C and D and B and C are applicable only in multi-engine airplanes. Stall and spin awareness during the flight training testing instructions evaluate all recognized avoid operators could lead to energy stall or spins. These are common. So this is very helpful for the Washington State Department of Licensing and also your immediate license as well for the siblings of Bachman and Ganja. And the Farm Bill's been paid in full for 18 years, so that increments of the 18 years. So the identity theft and service of increments is it's really it's committed to providing equal access to service for information. It's for the TDY, the TT, and the TTY for the people that can't see or can't hear or are disabled in any way, shape, or form, either got hit by a truck or hit by a vehicle, like myself, or got hit by somebody that was not paying attention or driving service. Now they're handicapped in a certain way or shape or form. That is the Washington State Department of Licensing. They're committed to providing equal access services for information. Visit SOS.WA.GOV access. That's the TDD or TTY. Call 711. Call 711. Call Pismo, Shannon Beach, and waive service to the Navy SEAL instruments for the Army, Navy, Air Force, Deltas for increments of detachment unit immediately, and they will be there in minutes. If you're maybe in the ocean or in the curve or in the drift and the overdrift and the current, and you got to call 911, the TT or the TTY, call 711. They'll be there and pull you out immediately, provide your service immediately. And you're in desperate need of your services being infringed in any way, shape, or form. Now, you're going to be looking for those problem makes the Department of DOL. They're going to have some backing safety procedures, like start your proper position, look for your path. These increments are including your services, so you don't get hit or run on crosswalk on your TYY, or increment on your driving procedures and services. Increments might downsize you in any shape and form for